Yo, what it do, man, on the Title Culture Podcast? It's your boy, that hippie Baker.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Richard. Thanks for having me back on.
What it do, Richard? We do have you back on the Title Culture Podcast, man. We have a special treat in the episode for you guys today, which is insane, man. The theories and the conspiracies that's been going on lately, especially over this interesting book, the Adam and Eve story. Richard been like a true agent on this. Like, it's insane to think that we have a book that's been hidden away for us for over 25 plus years. That's insane.
Yeah, it was classified in 1966, bro. Over 50 years ago, before you and I were born, that shit was classified.
Let alone that we wasn't even born. It's the fact that, bro, this been hidden from us for this long.
Right.
What was really in that book, man, that they were so quote unquote terrified, even if they wasn't terrified? What was in that book?
Well, that's the crazy thing, is that they only gave us 57 of the original 284 pages. They gave us, what is that? Let's do some quick math. A sixth of the book.
They like basically saying, hey, we want to tell y'all the truth, but we're not going to tell y'all the truth.
And they only did it because their hands are tied. It was because someone filed for a Freedom of Information Act, which forced them to declassify documents after a certain amount of time. What they did is they said they were going to give us the sanitized version of that book, which boiled down to 57 pages instead of 284. They're hiding shit, bro.
I believe like they was like, hey, we really don't want y'all to know any of this, but we're gonna give y'all a glimpse of what this book really has.
Yeah, they had to give us something, right?
Like, I believe, like, for them to hide the sanitized book, pages, is wrong, and I feel like we got conned out of that. And if we actually knew like the true story behind it, that would actually help with the conspiracy theories that's out now.
I agree. It would get rid of a lot of conspiracy theories. The problem, though, is it's going to validate a whole bunch of them. There's a lot of people out there that are considered crazy because they've done the math, they've done the physics, and they're getting closer and closer to what was actually in that book. And so the government tries to, like, throw new stuff out there to distract us from these crazy people, right? Quote unquote.
Right.
And I think that's what it is. I think they gave us a little bit of something to try to throw us off the trail. Not enough for us to actually know the truth of it, though.
And it's kind of like in the 48 Laws of Power.
Yeah?
It's throwing you off the hint. Never show your game plan.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So they're like throwing you off. I'm giving you certain things to make you believe that this is what that is. And they talk about that in that book.
Where they let you make your own assumptions.
Yeah.
Your assumptions are wrong, but they're not going to correct you on that.
For instance, like that alien stuff, you realize that if you ever known about the Project Bluebeam, that's like a whole hologram type thing.
Right.
Like, hey, we're telling you they're here, but, you know, they're really not here.
And that's not what's important right now anyway. We just want you to focus on that. We want you to, like, have your eyes over here. It's like every cheap magician's first trick they learn. They distract you with one thing, do something else behind your back.
Because why all of a sudden we've been seeing these aliens left and right, quote unquote, that they've been saying that's been out there.
Right.
Which is crazy to me because I'm not saying that they're out of this world or wild or like crazy, but I do believe some of them actually seen it.
I agree with that. I got a wild theory about that too, man.
Like, it's insane to really think that, damn, dude. It's kind of like when somebody get R-worded and then they don't speak about it, and it's hard for them to speak about it.
Right.
But people are playing with that word, and acting like a Me Too when in reality, they've been BSing about them being R-worded.
Right. They want the sympathy that comes with it.
Yeah.
The publicity and the
Right.
popularity that comes
So,
with it.
I feel like that's how when people who actually been in that situation that they seen a ghost, an alien,
they're not going to be real loud about it.
And just like our prehistoric people, I truly believe they're not going to draw something. If I seen something and I have documentation that I seen it, I'm going to write it down, draw it, or something that I never seen before. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to make that shit up out of nowhere.
Or if you do, it's going to be in a different section of your cave wall. If you want to make fiction, like people made stories all the time, but there's a difference between where the fantasy is and where the reality begins.
Right. Well, just to think, would you believe that Adam and Eve story was like the theory of Adam and Eve are cosmonauts?
What do you mean? Like the biblical version?
They came, right, but just like I'm talking about the book that we're talking about.
Right. Yeah, I think so.
They was cosmonauts.
I think so. Here's my theory. Here's my overlying theory. And ironically, I was thinking about this and talking to some people about this before you even told me about
really
the Adam and Eve story, the book itself.
Yeah.
So, we have witnessed in space a lot of things that we've never been able to observe before, right? And one of the things that we have observed is that the moon is slowly becoming more and more distant from the Earth. In addition to that, so everybody knows the Earth spins, right? And it's on an axis that's mildly tilted, just a couple of degrees.
Right.
But we have learned that the Earth is actually starting to tilt just a little bit more and more. And think of it like an hourglass, right? Once the sand runs out of the hourglass, you turn it. You flip it top to bottom. And now all that weight is at the top of the hourglass, and all the empty space is at the bottom of it. You've switched the poles. You've switched what north and south is. So what happens to all that sand? It gets jumbled up, right?
Right.
Now imagine if that happened to our planet. What would happen? Well, if the moon isn't close enough and our magnetic poles are completely just rearranged, that means the seas are not going to be tidally locked. They're not going to be set in place where they're supposed to be. So it's going to create a flood, just like in Noah, just like in the Bible, right? And interestingly enough, the Bible doesn't start with the flood. It predates the flood. There are stories about Adam and Eve, and then Cain and Abel, and then Methuselah. Like, you have all of these people and historical figures in the Bible, and then the flood happened. And then after that is when Jesus came, right? Mm-hmm. Thousands of years later or whatever.
Right.
So my thought is,
we pre-warned ourselves?
I think so. I think what happened is, okay. Let's take a slightly different example. So one of the closest animals on our planet to us, as far as our DNA goes, would be a chimpanzee.
Right.
But you cannot artificially inseminate a chimpanzee with human specimen.
It can't
We're
happen.
not close enough to that.
Yeah.
But biblically speaking, the angels came down and had intercourse with humans, and that's how we got the half-giants. That's how we got the Nephilim.
Yeah, the Nephilim.
Those abominations, right?
Mm-hmm.
The only way that's scientifically possible is if they were closer to us genetically than anything else on the planet right now. Now, how would that happen? My thought is that there were survivors from one of these cataclysms, one of these polarity shifts where the world basically had a cataclysm, right? There were survivors, and those survivors are alive because they weren't on the planet when it happened. I think they came back to check up on their ancestors, to check up on humanity, and that's where the crossbreeding came in. And that's why it was such a sin and such an abomination, because you had these sky people, as referred to by other societies and ancient civilizations. You had these sky people, these star people coming out of the sky. Biblically, they're referenced to as angels, right? But let's just say all of those terms reference the same being, right? Now let's assume that these angels had a leader. Well, why not refer to that leader as God, right? You see the
Yeah.
what I'm trying to draw here?
Yeah.
So I think
It's interesting though because it's what you're saying is like it's like I'm catching on to everything.
yeah,
you're
it lines
saying.
up scientifically as well as biblically. I think the Bible is more of a metaphor to help us learn, morals and things like that, but it also is teaching us about the history of our planet. Not human society, not civilization exactly, but more of the planet itself. It has shown us in this religious holy text that the planet literally reset.
So like you saying like to say we're gonna be in like a reset moment. I do believe in that. I do believe that once we reset, everything that we have is gonna be erased. Memories and all of that.
Everything on this planet, I agree.
Like we're still gonna be in this universe. This universe still gonna be around.
Oh, facts.
You know what I'm saying?
We're just one rock in a giant world.
Until we get to that spot where the end of the universe is done. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we keep resetting over and over. Like
it's a
Tenet.
cycle.
You ever seen that movie Tenet?
No, I haven't seen that movie.
Oh, watch it, man. It's like, or like that Tom Cruise movie where every time he keep dying, he keep resetting.
Oh, yeah,
back to life, to the beginning. He like, what am I doing wrong? Like every time he go to a scene, he either die, come back to the original spot,
He's got
die
started
again.
all over.
So it's like that. We keep resetting until we get to that final destination, and then boom.
I think that's what humanity's trying to do right now. So, remember CERN, right? The Giant Hadron Collider?
Yeah.
I think one of the primary reasons that they are running those experiments, they've not told the public. I think they're trying to get us off of this planet before the polar reset. I think they're trying to do what, hypothetically, our ancestors did thousands and thousands of years ago, and that is get enough survivors off this planet before it flips and has a cataclysm and destroys everything, so that way they can then come back and rebuild humanity faster. I think that's how we're going to start exploring the universe, and I think that's why they're trying so hard to put these drones on Mars, put these terraformers on Mars. That's why we're constantly looking at other planets. We're looking at like the moons on Jupiter. There's a couple of them that potentially could sustain life. There's a couple of planets in nearby solar systems. It would only take a few years for us to get to.
But why do we keep looking up though?
Because we know the planet's not sustainable, not for any length of time. I'm not saying in the next couple of years. I'm saying the next, century or two. I think that's why there's this rush of all of these countries trying to find this technology. They're trying to get into space. And I think that's why there's such a rush for resources. I think that's why Russia and China and Ukraine and USA, I think that's why there's all of these confrontations and conflicts over worldly resources, because everyone's trying to get the resources they can to do the research they need to do these experiments so they can get some amount of humanity off the planet before it has another cataclysm and crumbles.
So in other words, we're trying to rush the process and play God.
I think they're trying to rush the process and meet God. I think these aliens that people are talking about or speculating about, that the government kind of like hinted at, I think they're our ancestors. Because if you scientifically look at a planet,
So it's like Prometheus.
Yeah. Very similar. You look at a planet that's a million light years away. We're looking at that planet a million years in its past.
Yeah.
So at a certain point, aliens are going to look at our planet. They're not going to see us.
They say when we look at a star, we like looking at our ancestors or dinosaurs.
Yeah,
That's in
exactly.
the, you know what I'm saying?
So if these aliens know about us, they had to know about us previously.
We're like basically like in the past.
We are.
Like we're in the
to any
past
observer that's looking
right
at
now,
us.
recently. Yeah.
Right. They're not going to see me and you chit-chatting on this podcast. They're going to see 50 million years ago where there's vegetation and mountains and dinosaurs. There's not going to be civilization.
Right.
So I don't think aliens from another galaxy found us. I think when we peaked as a civilization a million years ago or however long,
we wasn't supposed to peak.
we weren't supposed to. I agree. I don't think we were supposed to peak. And I think our ancestors have been keeping an eye on us to see if we're going to make the same mistakes that they made.
And I feel like, yeah, in a way, we do have a big brother somewhere. You know what I'm saying? That's watching, because it's like, dude, come on, bro. Like, it's just amazing how we could come from a cell. And it's funny how when you watch these movies such as Prometheus, where in order to he created life, he killed his own self, and his cells went inside the water.
Right.
And basically populated
exactly
the Earth.
What are the odds that
the
we
planet
evolved the way we did? Because if you think about it, again, scientifically, looking at evolution has always been more muscles, grow faster, or more camouflage, hide yourself better. It has always been a predator and a prey situation, or a symbiotic relationship, or a parasitic relationship. Never have we observed any animals evolve to become smarter, evolve to have less natural weapons, evolve to make weapons themselves, evolve to build traps, evolve to critically think. We're the only species that's done that, to our knowledge.
At one point, we can be at one point, we're like our own destruction. Like, everything that we try to create, bioengineer, and try to like meet God on, it's like, I feel like we're heading in the wrong direction on that.
I agree.
Like, I think this firmament, this Adam and Eve story, the book that was hidden for so long, this cataclysm, like, come on, dude, like, we're getting spun around, and it's like, dude, like, the more we keep looking out, it's like we can't believe in it no more. Like, this Adam and Eve story, bro, we're missing how many pages? 100 and...
Let's see, they gave us 57 out of the 284. So
57 out of 284. So 200 pages. Think about what I'm saying. 200 pages.
200.
Bro, if real information that is needed to be known. And yet we're getting, like, bullshit ass knowledge, such as sanitized...
Yeah, a sanitized version of these.
Version of the book.
Why do they need to sanitize it?
Why do you need to sanitize the
What
book?
they cut out?
There's no need to sanitize it. So if you're that scared to let us know what's really going on in that book, bro, y'all cut it off immediately on the first week, I think.
Yeah, I want to say
it was like the first.
Days?
Yeah, you was that scared?
It never reached an official mass producer. For
Yes.
Like, it never hit.
So who seen it and was that damn like, bro, he telling too much.
Stop that.
He's telling too much right now.
Exactly.
What did he see? How did he know about it? What prompted him to do it?